So hello everyone. For those of you who are joining me this evening, a little warm up before I invite my guests. This is my With Tracy Insta Live, the quick catch up with past guests. And I'm very excited tonight to have two guests from the Madame Jennifer Distillery, who joined me on the With Tracy podcast. It's only 2 years, it's about 21 months, something like that. Anyway, I'm very excited that they've agreed to join me for tonight. I would like to remind everyone, if you're listening and you've got any questions, please pop them through, and I'm sure either they or me will be delighted to answer them. Anyway, I'm just going to invite them very quickly. So I just like some feedback as well if you've been enjoying my Insta Lives. This is kind of relatively new for me that I thought I'd try out through the summer. But there's plenty more guests that are coming through that I'd like to get on for my quick evening catch up. And we're going to try some at lunchtime as well, depending on maybe what the feedback is, but we know some people prefer it maybe during the day. Anyway, let's just invite my guests now. So I'm just going to do a quick invite. Just bear with me. Here we go. See if they're there and going to join me. Yeah. So we might have a bit of a technical thing there. I invited them to join me. Yes. Oh, here we go.
Hello, how you
Hi.
doing?
Oh,
Let me
hello.
just try and get you on a thing. We were just. Am I the right way up for you? Am I the wrong way up?
A very nice vertical view of the still and you.
Okay. We go like that. Is that better?
Hi guys.
Yeah, well done on the handle thing.
Let me
Are we
just-
live already?
Yes.
Yes.
Ah!
Yes.
Let
We
me.
are. But that's the great thing about this. You know, it's kind of, what happens. You know, we're here live. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for the quick catch up with Tracy. Quick catch ups tonight.
A pleasure.
I was just doing a quick hello to everyone or anyone who's joining us this evening. But as you know, and I'd just like to share with you and everyone else that this does get recorded and it will go up on the YouTube. So it can be, we can watch it later. For all the bits we don't want to see or hear maybe. So anyway, a big welcome to Ian and Inga from Madame Jennifer Distillery. I must just get that in.
Literally from Madame Jennifer.
So guys, tonight is just, obviously it's great to see you. And I can't believe, actually, I was looking back and it's something like, the exact thing is like 21 months ago or something. But I'm just like, oh my God, where's that time gone?
Yeah, it's gone really quickly. Well, 2021 kind of just disappeared, didn't it? Nobody quite knew what happened.
I know. Anyway, obviously this is just an opportunity to say hi and just to see what's happened really since we did the podcast and in those 21 months. So what about you guys? How's it going? Where do we start?
Where do we start? It's
I was going to say we started with a gin and tonic.
Yeah, we started with gin and tonic. Cheers.
I'd just like to show everybody. Look, I've got my. And then when I looked at it, I thought, oh, there's actually not that much left in it. I've got to top it up.
There's plenty more over here. There. It's over there. Yeah, it's been. You right?
Yeah, get a bit more.
Yeah, what's been happening? It's
the last month has been busy with lots of gin festivals, which has been great. Or last couple of months, particularly July. Which of course all stopped during COVID, and it was kind of, and it was a good bit of our business, not just for, we sort of had a mobile bar and just serving gin and tonics and making a few cocktails. So I always like to experiment making food cocktail menus and things like that. But also talking to people, talking to customers, giving out samples, and just getting some feedback and telling people about the product as well. And it's been really nice to sort of be back out there talking to people, giving out free gin. Most people say yes. Do you say, would you like to try some gin? They're usually quite amenable. So it's one of those sort of nice parts of sort of communicating with customers and just that direct consumer access that you get when you do a gin festival, whereas normally, well, a lot of our other stuff is either online or via fine wine merchants and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So did it, I mean, I think, you know, when I go back to when we did the podcast, I think that was sort of when we had a bit of a hiatus, didn't we? Could we kind of mix and mingle just about?
Yeah, it was
a bit, yeah. But
kind of a bit of a relief between lockdowns, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then it kind of continued, as we know. So how was that for you, though? I know your business, you know, you were going through wine merchants and online, but did that affect your business hugely?
Yeah, it's the interesting thing is, and Ingrid and I were talking about this the other day, it's like we sold our first bottle in 2018. So in 2019 we were building, and so we don't really know what a normal year looks like, because 2019 was our first kind of growth year, and then 2020 was different, and then 2021 was different. So it's only here in 2022 we're beginning to get a standard that we can begin to compare things with, because everything's been changing over the last 4 years. It's so we think it was okay, you know, but we don't know, you know, we did okay, but we don't know what we could have done if we had more information.
Yeah, it's a very good point, actually. I mean, you know, I've interviewed quite a few people that set up businesses. I know you've set it up before, but have set up either during the pandemic or literally just before. But it's a very good point, I think, you're making, that if you don't have consecutive years that are roughly the same, it's really hard to go, well, was that a good year? Was that not a good year?
You can't tell.
And I think also in alcohol, which I guess is similar with some other products, is it's very seasonal. So we sell a lot in Christmas. That's our peak month, is December. And you know, so the first year when we set up in the summer. We had summer it was quite busy, then a little bit of a lull in October, and then November, December, Christmas was really busy for us. And then in January there was like nothing, and we were like, oh God, what's happened? And then but actually we sort of learned, now we're a bit like, yeah, nothing happens in January. You need to go on holiday and enjoy some time off and do some other stuff that isn't just making product and selling it, really. And then of course then COVID happened the next year, so that whole kind of what does your month compared with the month, you know, what does January 2019 compare with 2020 or 2021? That's also kind of really screwed that up, to know really what it is in terms of our sales and how busy we are with the different seasons and that kind of thing, when you've got a whole, you're in lockdown, you're not in lockdown, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So but you know, you've had a bit of time, so are there new products? What new news?
What new products? I can't remember what was here last time you were here. If you had the Oak Aged Gin, the Oak Aged Gin, of course, is very much in batches. We're on our 4th batch at the moment, of course, and slightly differences in the oak and the size of the units you use and things like that make different flavours in that. So batch 4 tastes different to batch 3, batch 2.
What batch have you got there?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Batch. Oh God, I can't read it now because I've got a light in my eyes. Batch. I thought it says 5. That can't be right then. Sorry.
Batch number, yeah.
Batch there's a batch number. Yes.
So it might be batch 76 at the bottom.
Or does it say when it's bottled? This is bottled in December 2021. When was yours bottled?
Oh, crikey. Right.
What left?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay. Oh, batch, bottle number 1, it says. Bottled 2020, October.
So that was, I think, the first batch of it. So
this one is the darkest, I think. I don't know whether you can compare that to yours and see whether yours is.
Oh yes, it is darker.
It's definitely got a bit more oakiness to it.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I have got other of your gins, and it was brilliant when I came down and tasted some. Since then, I bought them as gifts and all sorts. But there's something, this oak age one for me was just such a game changer, because I hadn't thought of gin as being oak aged.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And, you know, and then I think you suggested, you know, you have it maybe with ginger beer or ginger ale,
like that. Yeah.
and various things. And every time I serve it to people, and they're like, oh, wow. Like, it really is. I just think it's kind of, of a kind. It's just, it's brilliant, though, in a brilliant way, you know.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's so I can't remember if we'd launched the vodka last time you came. I think we might have just launched that, but the vodka's doing very well for us as well.
Amaro, isn't that sense?
But the Amaro is definitely new, which is this one. It's
Oh, yes. Now, I was going to ask you about that, actually. Do you want to just explain to listeners a bit more about Amaro?
Amaro is Amaro is a family of bitter Italian herbal liqueurs, which include things like Campari and Aperol and those kind of things. It came about for us because I wanted to sell a Negroni kit. Negroni is a really popular cocktail. It's made of equal parts gin, vermouth, and Campari. We obviously make our own gin. We work with a local vermouth maker, Janina, over at In the Loop Drinks, but we didn't have a local version of Campari. So my lockdown project in January 21 was to come up with my version of it, which is my Amaro. It was quite difficult. It's because it's all secret family recipes. There's nothing published. So it was really starting from first principles and trying to identify flavors and trying to get a bitter profile. As part of that, I got to a point where I like, because Campari is incredibly high sugar, and I don't like making my liqueurs with that level of sugar in it. So as a result, the Amaro is, I kind of have to sort of almost give a bit of just a little bit of heads up to people, because it's designed as a cocktail ingredient. If you're going to taste it neat, if you're not used to bitter stuff, you're going to really struggle. It's because it's got angelica root and gentian root in there as bittering agents. It's got about 14 botanical ingredients in it.
Wow!
But it's incredibly complex. And it's one of those ones. There's been a few things where I've launched, and part of the philosophy of doing this was be able to be creative, to be able to make new things, to be able to experiment and make something that if it sells slowly, it doesn't matter. It's and we thought the Amaro would be about the same, but it's proving quite popular, isn't it? It's particularly with mixologists and real detailed cocktail makers and bartenders and stuff like that are really loving it. So
yeah, and actually I think it's also got us into a few places that wouldn't have normally stocked us. Because they've gone, oh, that's different. Can I try? And I've tried it at somewhere, a restaurant or something like that. And in fact, we got into the shop at Bolney Wine Estate, purely due to the Amaro, because they wanted to do a Negroni kit for Christmas, and so we did lots of mini bottles for them. And they stock us. They've got a beautiful veranda and overlooking the vineyard and their own little shop. Obviously on a different scale to us.
A different scale of investment to us. Several zeros missing. Several extra zeros.
But they have a lovely little shop with local produce where they're championing local produce, and so we're able to get in there as well, which is really nice actually. Yeah. So it's really interesting how producing these different products does also give you a different route in and lets other people know what's going on and things as well. Yeah.
But your hero product, if I kind of put it like that, is still the gin, is it?
Yes, very much so. It's and it's almost like, because we make the gin, because we distill the gin, because we're very open about the distillery and how we make it, it actually gives you authority to extend the range. No, it's because you make a gin which is very much out there in the market, it's got some big followers, it's shifting a reasonable volume for a small distillery. it gives you the authority to go in and go, hey, here's our limoncello, or here's something like Amaro, which you haven't even seen before, but you know, here we are with this. So it's gin very much, you know, it's the fastest mover, it's the biggest product. We've got 3 standard gins. We have another one at Christmas and a slow gin on top of that. So I might introduce another gin soon. It's so gin's still the biggest volume mover, but having the different products, and altogether in the range we've got 8 in the standard range, moving up to 10 or 12 products, maybe about 30 or 40 SKUs.
Yeah,
it's that they all kind of support each other, because it's and it's great when you're doing a tasting or a gin festival or doing a promotion, because it's like you can always find something somebody likes. You know, you have 8 products in front of you. If somebody goes through all of them and doesn't find something they like, then they probably just need to move on.
I loved watching, Inga particularly, but you were both there, but your cocktail making little videos you used to
Yeah, we haven't got many followers on Instagram, and I think
we got loads on Instagram.
Oh, sorry,
on
on
YouTube.
Instagram, on YouTube. I think we've got about 8, and half of those are my nephews. But we decided we would make some videos anyway, and we would use segments of them to go on Instagram and Facebook, and then have a YouTube channel as well. But I love making cocktails. I think it's just, I love experimenting with food, and so experimenting with cocktails is also nice and easy. So when each year at the beginning of the gin festival season, we have this like, right, how are we going to mix up our cocktail menu? What we're going to do? So I wanted to make I'd seen this really beautiful cocktail. I think you see them on Instagram or something like that, and it had this glass on it, and it had some candy floss on top, and I was like, oh, that would be brilliant, we could do that for gin festivals. And so our cups kind of go out like that rather than in, and so candy floss just went in it and just completely melted and was all dissolved in our test run.
Didn't work. No.
So, but I have made, it's called a candy style martini, which is a bit like a porn style martini, and it's got passion fruit juice, cranberry, lime juice. It's got this candy floss syrup to balance with the lime. And it sounds like it might be sort of sickly sweet, but it's actually a really lovely cocktail. And it's really nice. People like designing a cocktail and you hand it to someone and they go, oh, that's delicious.
Yeah.
And like the last one we handed it, there was a woman and a man, and the woman was like, what do you want? And he's like, no, I don't want anything. She's like, are you sure? Are you sure? And he's like, no. So I handed it to her, and he tastes it and goes, yeah, I'll have one of those.
That would be me. I have to say, I always find it really hard to choose what cocktail I want. And my son particularly, Charlie, always laughs. He'll say, you'll go, oh, it's too sweet. Just what you said, oh, it's too sweet, I don't really want it. And then someone will pass me one and I'll go, oh yeah, that's nice. No, I do like that.
Although in the process of designing that cocktail, Inga did buy the world's biggest supply of candy floss, which we are still sitting on.
Serving like a side.
Just serving a side of candy floss with it. Try and get rid of the damn candy floss.
Which is fine depending on what event you're at. So we were in an event in some woods, and there was obviously lots of creepy crawlies and things like that. And we're like, we'll just keep the candy floss closed. Can't be going in and out with the sort of bugs and things, wasps and ants being attracted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's been an
I've
adventure.
actually got a question that's come in from the gymnasium, and they're asking, are there any bars where they can try your gin?
There's loads around the Brighton and Hove area, which all the way from the Grand Hotel in Brighton has our gin behind the bar. Plenty of hotels around there. There's it depends where. I mean, our reach is basically, if you take Brighton and Hove, our reach is about as far north. We reach about 30 miles north and about 30 miles each side, depending on where you look. So there's plenty of bars. Look at our website. There's a list on there. Although, so since probably we last spoke to you, we actually work with we've got a couple of local distributors now. So I'm now at the point where our gin is in more places than I know. So, And it's not uncommon for us to go into a restaurant in a Hove and go, oh, they got our gin.
Well, that's great. And I was going to ask you about that because obviously, you know, there's, you know, what's been going on, but also, you know, growth, you know, in progress. So in terms of, you've now got distributors and you're selling your gin in all sorts of places. So that's obviously been really beneficial for you guys.
Yeah, having a distributor makes a big difference because it's a local distributor. It's only really 3 guys. It's but what of course they're doing is they're going into restaurants and delivering to them selling gin, wine, you know, local wine, selling the whole remit. And that's if I was dealing with that customer myself, I'd be having to go to a restaurant to deliver, you know, 1 bottle, 2 bottles, or something like that, which is a lot of time.
Yeah.
To invest in, you know, if you're trying to do that in 100 restaurants, that's a lot of time. When we have to do everything else, like make it and bottle it and label it and come up with stuff on social media and stuff like that. Wash the floor. It's
Your favourite job.
my favourite job, yeah. So that's made a big difference in terms of spread and in terms of how we kind of just how getting out into that kind of thing.
Yeah. So that's obviously a change that you've made, and it's working for you.
Yeah. It's really helpful, and it's.
I think we were never very good at the going into bars and things like that when and into shops and individual, particularly bars, and selling into those because we knew that the volume would be quite small and kind of a premium product, so a lot of bars wouldn't necessarily stock us, but having a distributor go in and they're selling wines and things like that means that they can just go in, sell 1 bottle, or, you know, and they've already got established relationships with people.
Yeah. It just works really well. So there is. I was just saying because I did say that there is a where to find our product section of our website that desperately needs updating because I haven't updated it in about 2 years.
Because another one of my questions was actually, so from when we did the podcast, there was a couple of things. One was, you know, you looking at your vision. Now, Inga, one was in the future you'd like to possibly run a bit of a cocktail school, and the other one was in that you were thinking that maybe someday you might like to just take someone on to help out with the day-to-day. Now, I know delegation isn't your thing, which when I listen back to the podcast, I laugh every single time. So I just wondered, I mean, are these sort of small steps in that way? You know, you doing the cocktail videos and then taking on someone to help distribute your products?
Yeah, I didn't realise, I hadn't really clicked that me taking on someone to help distribute the products is a notch up my delegation capability. I'm actually quite proud of myself.
I know, and also you forget what you say in these kind of things. So I hadn't realised that about the cocktail making things. We actually did run two cocktail making masterclasses, but actually in collaboration with I think we mentioned before in the Loop Drinks, Janina from there, she'd done some online, and so it was her idea really, but she's a bit in the middle of a countryside in a winery, so nobody would be able to get to her. So we collaborated with her to come and do a cocktail masterclass here in the distillery. So we have to be careful, not too many people, and shaking cocktails was quite small and you don't want elbows going everywhere when you're shaking a cocktail. But yeah,
we have done a couple of those. Mm-hmm. We haven't employed anyone yet.
No, but we're
gonna soon.
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Well, no, we haven't got plans to. I keep saying we need somebody to help for Christmas.
I think the point is we need to soon.
Who's the one hanging back here?
It's always been me. Yeah. For exactly the same reasons, I suspect, as last time we talked. It's like kind of I don't really know what I want to let go of. I don't really know. Basically, unless they're an identical copy of me, I don't want to employ them, and that's a terrible way of approaching it.
Because actually, the truth is, Ian, you wouldn't want someone who would be the same as you.
No, of course not.
No.
No.
No, nobody can be that cool.
I think we had a question.
We did have a question. Somebody asked what was our
favourite product. Yes, I'm just gonna bring that one in. Yeah.
Oh well, mine changes quite a lot.
What is it? What is it this week, Inga?
Yeah.
This week, I think I'm going back to the Biologist because I really like it because A, it's my gin. I like the fact that it was me arguing with Ian going, no, I want to have my own gin with the flavours that I want, not what you want. And then I also like the fact that it outsells it and was actually the best choice business-wise, but I also think it's
good to have a crowd pleaser in the race.
Well, I love that story that you landed up with 2 gins because you both couldn't agree on which.
It's amazing how we managed to agree anything, really.
Yeah. But I also think it's really nice in cocktails, and
I think it's a really nice gin.
We drink it. It's the gin that we drink most at home, and we have our favourite cocktail, which is a basil smash, which is lemon juice, sugar syrup, Biologist, and basil leaves shaken.
I don't know, we've got a video on our YouTube channel of you making that. We should have, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's just a really nice, refreshing kind of cocktail that's kind of got a nice balance of bittersweet and.
Well, that's and actually this time of year. I mean, I know you can get basil all year through, but I mean this time of year, you know, people are growing it and stuff. So actually, that's definitely one I'm going to try. Yeah, I love basil anyway. So.
And actually, when people come around to our house, it's our house cocktail, really, isn't it? Anyone who comes around to see they gets the basil smash first. And I've had people who don't like gin say, "I don't like gin, but I drink that." And I don't know whether that's a compliment or not. Maybe it's not gin.
It's quite strong though. They're quite strong. Your third one is called a basil smashed.
So what about you, Ian?
What about you?
My favourite is I'm a bit like Inga. I do vary quite a lot. I do, however, really like our cold brew coffee liqueur. I can't remember. I think we probably had it when you were here last.
Yes, you did. I bought that and given it as gifts.
Yeah.
It's it is. We've just made a batch. I made a batch today of it. There's a tank sitting behind Inga. Is currently full of it. But yeah, it's just. I like it for a bundle of reasons. I like the story of it because I like the fact that we know the farm where the bean comes and it's in between the main coffee reasons. I like the fact that we know it goes to a small roastery nearby in Henfield where a guy called Tom does a special roast.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And I like the fact that we worked with an independent coffee shop down the road, 44 Poets, to develop the recipe and develop a cold brew extraction method. And it's got a lot of story behind the product, and it's just really nice to sip over ice on a summer's day in the garden. I think the balance of sweetness and bitterness is great on it. The coffee flavour is really nice. So yeah, I'm really proud of it as a product.
Yeah.
That's great.
And we've had some really good feedback. We had David T. Smith, who has written a couple of books on gin and does lots of tasting at gin festivals, and particularly a gin and other craft distilling kind of things, or gin festivals and gin competitions. And he tasted our range, and then when it came to the coffee liqueur, he said when he goes to these competitions, he's always like, "Oh bloody hell, not another cold brew coffee liqueur." And he's a bit like, some of them don't taste that nice, and he really liked ours. And I thought that was a real compliment for somebody who has tasted a lot of coffee liqueur and judged it and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
Well, that is a great story, I have to say, and people are commenting on that. So that is a great story behind that particular product.
Yeah, it's really nice. We're really pleased with it. We've also had, in the last year, so there's a very famous book called 101 Gins to Try Before You Die.
Oh.
Printed about 10 years ago. And the guy who wrote that, Ian Buxton, got in touch and said, look, that book's getting a bit old now. I want to update it and do an updated version. So he has written a book called Gin, the Ultimate Companion. And you can find in there our Gin of Paradise on page 200 there.
Oh, that is fantastic.
It's good, isn't it? It's
brilliant.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. So it's you go, great review. If it was really interesting, Gin of Paradise is quite low in number of botanicals, high in botanical loading. So it's got a really big flavour, and you're really interested in that. So yeah, it's a nice little accolade as well.
So actually, you know, a lot's been going on, and it sounds really, well, brilliant actually. It's all keeping you busy, and it feels like the businesses that were doing that. I was going to ask you as well, because I know that you were doing distillery tours. I know that, Ian, you've got another description for your distillery tour.
I mean, the distillery is quite small, so we actually call it G&T in the distillery, because I do think calling it a distillery tour is just pushing the description a little bit. Distillery is small. You can see we're in it now. You can see everything you can see from your seat. But that's been so basically probably started shortly after you came to see us. That has been a very nice piece of a business. It's people book it on our website. We do them on Friday and Friday afternoons, Saturday afternoons. Partly because the rest of the week is, you know, piled up in boxes and crates and bottles and all kinds of stuff in there. So I have to have a big tidy up on Fridays before distillery tours. But they have been great for us because people book them on our website online. We can handle up to 6 people. They last about an hour. People get to taste through the range. They get a large gin and tonic, and they get as part of a ticket price, they get a little bottle of their choice to take home as well. And we've got, and it's a really easy piece of work for us because it takes about an hour. We need about half an hour before and about a quarter of an hour afterwards. And it's just a nice little piece of, most people buy something.
Yeah.
It's one of the things we say is because people book the tours online and pay for it then, by the time they get to us, they've kind of forgotten they spent that money, so they're quite willing to buy a bottle of something as well. So
or as a present,
or something like that. Yeah.
But I think also previously we were either distant from customers because we were selling via fine wine merchants and that kind of thing, or we're going to markets and gin festivals, and those involved like preparation the day before. Get there, whatever the weather, you have to put up your gazebo,
build your stand.
We haven't got, you know, sometimes one of the Christmas markets we stood next to a jewellery stand. I was like, oh, wouldn't that be nice to just have little bits of jewellery that you had, not crates of gin pumping back and forth from the van.
I've spent Christmas markets when I spent the entire time holding on to the gazebo. My entire job here is to stop the gazebo and everything we've got blowing away.
Whereas, so like people coming to us and just being and not having all that kind of prep, and also how much gin do you take to those kind of things? So some of the markets and the events in the beginning, we massively overestimated how much we would sell, and we would take everything off the shelves and then would just end up humping it around the place and taking it back again. Which actually now we've done some of those things once or twice, we can look back and go, how much did we sell last year or that previous event? Let's just take that amount and a few more bottles of each of our products, because I think also because we've got such a big range, we need to actually take quite a lot more. I think it's good business sense to just have a couple of products and just
maybe not having 30 odd SKUs, about 12 products. It's probably not the best idea. But yeah, the gin, so the distillery tours have been a nice addition to the range. They're fun for us to do. You know, we get. I mean, it does vary who comes through the door. You know, some people, you get about 20 minutes in, you're like, I'm running out of stuff to talk about here because you're giving me nothing back. And then some people, you're nearly done an hour and you haven't done anything. You know, you've done nothing because they've been asking so many questions and firing so much stuff. It's so they're good, aren't they? Yeah.
And so, just to answer the question, we do distillery tours throughout the year, apart from December when we're too busy making gin.
Yeah. There wasn't many in July because we had gin festivals and stuff like that to do. So, but there's loads of slots in August if you're around.
And you know, you gave me, obviously, when we did the podcast, it was a personal tour, and I would just say to everyone, that's what's so lovely about it as well. You know, it is so personal, and you do make it fun, and you learn so much when you come down and talk to you guys. Like, we're learning so much tonight, but I mean, yeah, I would just, yeah, say to anyone, just go. It's fun. Go and book up.
Come before we sell out for £30 million.
Now, do you remember that conversation we had? And it was like, no, I'm just going to stay and keep it hands-on, and I'm just going to keep it small. And then we all laughed about the it's sold out.
I've got no intention to sell it to a bigger brand. But if they're in the millions, then I could be persuaded.
So we can say that maybe that's not in the future of the next 12 months.
No, I don't think so. I think we'll be doing this for another few years yet. Probably 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll get some staff to do all the hard work of lugging gin crates around festivals and that kind of thing.
We would also like to develop people.
To make them close, like
we don't want to get in some human mule.
You're developing. But then I was saying that they could be clones of you, Ian.
Should be cloning me is a bad idea.
Well, look, it sounds brilliant, and I know I say this, but I'm going to come down. That's it. I've got to come down. I've got to stock up anyway and try some of those new batches of the gin.
Yeah, come down and see us.
Yeah, it'd be lovely.
Yeah, no, I've got to. And I just love chatting to you. It always makes me smile, and I really appreciate you sharing, your journey. I just think people do find it fascinating. So, look, I mean, anyone listening tonight, you can watch this again on YouTube, but please, log on to Madame Jennifer Distillery website and go and check out the gins and have a tour. But thank you guys so much.
Great to see you. Thank you very much.
I'll speak to you soon. Come and see you soon.
Yeah, come and see us.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.